Hey everyone, I'm Allie, and today we're going to be stretching out the shoulders with a short yin practice. So if you're spending a lot of time seated or just feeling a little extra tense up here, or to avoid that, this will be a great practice for you. We'll start in a seated position, and if you have a cushion or a block, feel free to grab that as well. Once you're seated, you can be cross-legged or back on your heels, whatever feels good for you today. We'll start just with a tall spine. Allow your shoulders to roll up, back, and down. Dropping into stillness just for a moment. Let the chin draw down. Soften your eyes to look to the floor ahead of you or to closed. And just starting to observe any sensations that you feel in the body today, especially in the upper body and the shoulder area. You don't need to label them good or bad, but just become aware of them and continue to come back to that throughout our practice today. So we'll start here with cow face pose. If you are used to a more active practice, you might also recognize this as eagle arms, all of the animals. So what you're going to do is reach your arms out in front, wrap your right arm underneath your left, and then either just catch on to opposite shoulders, or you can go a little bit further and catch on to opposite hands if that feels okay for you. So again, always modifying or skipping anything that doesn't feel good in your body is super important in this practice. Discomfort is okay, but we want to shift to discomfort and not pain. So feel it out, see how it is for you, and then see where you can let go of any extra effort that doesn't need to be there in this shape. It's a short practice, so we won't be in any of these holds for very long comparatively to a longer yin practice. But as you drop in, you want to make sure that you have an awareness of your breath, which will help keep you present in the pose. And ideally, it'll help take a little bit of the attention off of the sensation. Wherever you can, softening your shoulders here. And just breathe. Take one more breath in. And slowly release that on your breath out. Reach your arms behind you. Interlace your fingers if you can, and we'll just take kind of a counter stretch here, drawing the hands back and down with a little puff up to the chest. Maybe a little shake out before we move into the other side. Let's do that now, reaching forward. Now with your left arm, bring it underneath your right. Same options. You don't have to clasp hands or catch wrists. Shoulders is all good as well. Find what works for you. Find that delicate line of discomfort. So we don't want to be super comfortable in yin generally, but we also don't want to be in pain. And as you arrive, just breathe. One more breath in. Release the arms on your breath out. Again, reach back to counter. Try clasping the hands in the opposite grip. And stretch the hands back, lift your chest. Feel that opening across the collarbones. Release it, take a little shake. And then let's move to a hands and knees position. So from here, we're moving into a melting heart variation and stretching the shoulders. Your hips will stay over your knees, and you'll start to melt the heart, the upper body down. But before we get there, we're going to start by reaching your right arm up overhead and then threading it all the way underneath your left so that your right cheek comes down to a cushion block or the floor, and your hips are still hovering over your knees. Take however long you need to get set up properly here. Remember, you want to be still in the shape once you settle into it. And now this should bring some pressure onto your outer right shoulder. If you're not feeling that, you might want to lower your cheek all the way down to the mat if you can. I'm going to take that option here. And one more option while you're here. If you're feeling pretty balanced, you could slide your left arm behind you to your low back, let it rest there to get a little more space through the left shoulder here as well. One more deep breath in. Exhale, release, press into your left palm, and so gently slide your right arm out. Let's stretch it up again. Hand back down to the mat. Just settling in the center for a couple of breaths. Let's bring it into the other side. Left arm rises up. Thread it all the way underneath. Let your left cheek make contact with something and the outer shoulder rest on something as well. And again, let's take our time, press into your right hand, reach your left arm out and up. Plant your hand back to center, land in the middle for a couple of breaths. Now let's lay right down onto the front of your body. And as you get there, extend your right arm straight out to the side so it's like a half T shape. And bring your right cheek either onto your mat or a cushion. From here, we'll start to roll onto the right shoulder and lift the front body off the mat. So you're rolling essentially open onto the right side of your body and getting into the front of the right shoulder and the pecs. Now this one can be a little awkward, so take your time, find what works for you. Left foot might be helpful to keep you more stabilized, stepping in front of your right leg. You might have the mobility to step it behind. It might be kind of hanging out. Feel free to use props to support it if that makes sense for you. And then just hang here for a moment. All right, my friends, let's roll right back onto the front of the body. Why don't we come into a short Sphynx pose here? Prop yourself onto your forearms. Take a moment, once again, just collecting yourself in the center. And we'll move it right into the other side. Left arm extends out to your side. Start to roll onto that side of your body. Take your time, bring it right on back to center. And this time, we're pressing back up and through hands and knees, heading into your final shape, Shavasana. You can always finish off in a seated position if you'd prefer. Otherwise, we'll lay down on our backs. We'll let all of that shoulder opening integrate, and then I'll give you the option to come back and meet me in a seat afterwards. Cushion or pillow could go under your head. Settle right in and take a moment in stillness, just observing. Has anything shifted for you in the upper body or elsewhere? If you've taken my class before, you know that I always suggest a longer Shavasana. If that calls to you today, feel free to hang out here as long as you have it. Otherwise, when you're ready, we'll meet in a seated position. Ending up back where we started. I hope your shoulders are feeling a little looser, a little more relaxed. I want to thank you for having the courage to show up and find peace within. I'll see you next time. Namaste.